Jeremy Cook here for Hackster.io. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the uConsole from ClockworkPi. This device is like a cross between a gigantic Game Boy and a customizable deck from a gritty cyberpunk future. I've had my eye on the uConsole for quite some time, and ClockworkPi was nice enough to send me one to try out with a Raspberry Pi CM4 processing unit. The processor and other modules can be swapped out as needed, and there's even a cellular modem available if that suits your needs. I'm excited to try it out, so keep watching. So I've got this package from ClockworkPi and I'm looking forward to opening it up. It's supposed to be a uConsole, or maybe that's supposed to mean micro console. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, let me get out my trusty knife. All right, I went ahead and ripped it there. Got my assembly guide. Nicely boxed up, and look, even though you got this little bump there, well protected under the plastic. See what we got. Nice clicky keys, so that should be nice. Arrangement of this makes me think I should actually look at the manual first before I really start putting this together. So don't panic. See, I was just about to start panicking, and it says not to. So thank you, Mr. Penguin with glasses on. Let's see, mount the screen. Nice solid. I think this is aluminum or some sort of metal. It feels like, so that's pretty nice. This backside, that's pretty nice. Looks like I guess it's stamped aluminum. I don't know. Maybe it's milled aluminum. Let's see. Almost seems milled to me, which is great. I don't know, probably was stamped, but either way, stamped milled. Either way, it's a nice feeling thing. Right here, oh, compute module. I had no idea what the size of these. I've never actually seen one before, so that's very small. Batteries, that's good, I guess. It's fairly obvious what this means now. Right there's the orientation, and put that down there. This seems to go through this hole and slides right in. Mount it like that. Oh, look at that. That's some nice studs to mount it to. I think that's referring to this back side of it. It's already on there. Could be wrong though. Not certain which way this goes or if it even matters. It does seem to have some sort of orientation. You got this part which seems to go up, so it seems to kind of go in there, kind of be secure. So I'm hoping once I put the top on that it will be secure. It's this chip lifter to lift the thing, and I'll take that off. Now I bet this mistake was made by many people when they put this together. But on the other hand, I guess if you leave it on, you've got a protector if you make a dent in it or something. All right, so got that. Mount the front shell. Oh, slides right in. Look at that, beautiful. This is man, I'm already loving just the feel of it. That's really cool. So take that out. Not that I really had to cut it, but engineering is proactive laziness, I feel like. All right, yeah, I had a teacher in high school and he was a retired engineer. He taught us and he said that engineers are lazy. When I told my dad he said that, he thought that was a little controversial, but now that I'm an engineer and whatever, I understand what he was saying. It's not that engineers are lazy, it's that they, you're proactively lazy. Or you may be lazy in naming, so you might name this a screw in code or something like that, and that's a good thing because people can figure it out. You're also proactively lazy in that if you prepare for things, like having this nice Allen wrench, which they had here. This is included with the kit. You don't have to search for it yourself. So it's not that you're lazy, it's just you're saving time for your future self. So I'd say it's like proactive laziness. In this case, you're just saving hassles from the customer. So yeah, thank you for that, ClockworkPi. It's a really solid piece. I mean, it's sort of like what Apple might have been if they were more of a cyberpunk type deal. It's definitely like, it's put together yourself. It's ruggedized and not like, not something you see in a regular office setting, but it is it's got a nice kind of techno feel to it, which I think is exactly what they were going for. Exactly what I wanted, exactly why I thought it looked really cool from the pictures. So this looks like it could be the thing that slides right in here. Looks like it can go up or down, so that's a good thing. Put that there, good. Let's see, mount the main board. Slide that in this way. Some nice studs here that line it up well. And I assume you use the same screws here. One cool thing, just from an assembly standpoint, all the screws appear to be the exact same, so you don't have to worry about where you're putting which thing, which is very nice. All right, mount the main board. Let's see, you gotta snap this in and screw these down. So screw these down, same screws. Gonna Very, very nice work there, ClockworkPi. I think that's great. You know, having some experience building things, and nice when you can simplify a design just from a, you know, both an expense on your end and just from the consumer end standpoint too. If you're not having to figure out what screws to use, then that's certainly helping alleviate some errors. And if you're buying twice as many screws of a certain type rather than 2 different kinds, then you're certainly saving some money. Obviously, it's important that you have this poke through, otherwise you couldn't plug it in here. I did do that correctly first time. Take that up, snap it in, snap, that's all good. All right, now you gotta mount the core, it says. So, oh, the compute module. I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like because it's pretty small. So this is a compute module 4, I believe it's 4104000. So I wonder if the compute module 5 would fit in here. I don't really know the answer to that, but kind of a new thing anyway. But yeah, these are very small. I mean, the Raspberry Pi 4, regular Raspberry Pis are the size of a credit card. This is definitely a bit smaller. Probably more like, you know, kind of a fat Raspberry Pi Zero, although it's a little squished in too. All right, so I think this is the way you do it. You just slip it in here. The orientation, I believe, is important, but I think you can put it in backwards. At least I did, I think, the first time. But basically, you just line up these 2 connectors and snap them in. Nice attachment sound, not a crunching sound, so it's a good thing. You know, pay attention to the alignment here. I think I've got it right, so this chip will be on the right side. Okay, all right, that sounds pretty good. Remove the protective layer. So again, probably something that many people don't do, but should. Kind of neat. The antenna is kind of laid out on that. Really a lot of clever things manufacturing-wise to make this fairly easy to make, or easier to make. Now, one reason this is not like comes assembled is that you can actually use different cores in this, I believe. So, you know, the one I got, it came with a CM4 core, but doesn't necessarily. You can use other things on that, like maybe, I don't know this for sure, but maybe the Raspberry Pi 5. Maybe I'll go ahead and just take this off. It was a little nerve-wracking taking the protective layer off something, but sometimes you just gotta do it, gotta go for it. All right, so, all right, good. And this takes a little bit of finesse. There we go, got it. Snapped in nicely. Wi-Fi antenna is mounted. Mount the speakers. That's kind of cool too, little surface mount device sort of things. Looking forward to hearing how these sound. I mean, I imagine it's not earth-shattering sound, but also got audio out. So if you want good audio, you can do that, I guess. So remove the protective cover and you just plug them in, I guess. Don't know quite how that works, but it's got some connections here, so hopefully. Okay, so that goes in there and that connects up to it, I think. This has plugs on both, or connectors on both sides, so I wonder if you can actually put this in either way. I'm going to put them all over that side with the connectors, but really impressed with some of the manufacturing details they put into this to make it easy for you to assemble it. Now, that doesn't exactly look like that because, well, I guess you could put different types of modules there. Mine doesn't have any chips on it, but it's, you know, I guess it could. It's keyed. It's nice. So you're not going to put it in backwards. If you do, you've definitely broken something. One type of screw. Congratulations, ClockworkPi, on a, you know, pretty clever design, I think. Just torque it down lightly. No need to overdo things. It's got a one thing on there, so it shows you where it goes, and then mount the 4G antenna. Now mine does not have a 4G antenna, so mount the 18650 batteries. Now this did not come with the kit, but I was told I need to buy some. You know, you can see why they didn't want to do that. I've got some batteries right here, so I'll plug that in. I don't know if they're charged or not, but I think it has internal charging. There's no SIM card, but there's an SD card, so okay, cool. So that goes at the end. So don't need to worry about this yet. The battery unit goes in here, so nice. Okay, took a little fiddling, but that wasn't too bad. Bit of torque, and you know, corner, alternating corners, that's a good thing. If you can do that, mount the battery unit, plus side like that. All right, protective layers, so this must be the thermal pad. Gonna put it on the chip. Again, kind of a cool design choice because, you know, you're gonna have different modules that can go in there. And if I make a mistake on this, I guess it'll tell me it's getting too hot, and I'll swap it out. And maybe you'll let me know in the comments. I don't know. It's nice. This looks like a block of putty or something. Interesting. All right, now I'm on the back shell, and that's pretty much it. All right, so wow, it's looking pretty good. Again, I'm very impressed with the use of just one type of screw in this whole thing. Really a smart design choice, I think. I mean, bounces around a little bit, but overall, not too bad. Got it when you need it, and you can store it when you don't. Well, very clever. Plug that in. All right, there we go. Had to push it in with the chip remover. So you press the hold on-off button for 2 seconds and it should come on. So I guess this is the on-off button. So 1, 2. So it's not coming on, but I don't know that I have the batteries charged. So I'm gonna go ahead and charge the batteries, and then I'll give it a try in a little bit. So, oh, look, my mistake. It is coming on. Just taking a little while for the Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4 to boot up. A few things set up, so yeah. Oh, scroll around with this? Well, that's awesome. It's like a huge BlackBerry. So it's not a touchscreen, so that can be good or bad depending on what you think. Username, I'm gonna say Hackster. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up network and stuff offline, and then we'll maybe play with this a little bit, and I'll see what it looks like. So a little update. I got it set up, got the internet set up, and it's looking good. It was working, and then just kind of turned off. So I am assuming it's out of batteries, which is understandable. At the same time, I would have kind of liked for it to have some sort of warning beforehand. But anyway, so I'll plug it in. Kind of tend to go with that. Sometimes SD cards can get corrupted like that, but hopefully everything's okay. And if that's the case, then just something you need to watch. So I'm going to charge it, and then we'll give it a try a bit later. Kind of neat when it's plugged in. It actually has a light that this power button actually lights up. So off. And then charging. So, another neat little choice as far as like how to do things. So, they made it translucent so you can see when it's charging. All right, so taking a look at things, you can see here the mouse. I mean, let's see. Touchscreen would be nice in some ways, but it's kind of cool to have that old school ball thing here. So go left and right. And then LR, these are the buttons, and you can kind of hopefully you can hear the clicking a little bit. Cancel. So yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to type like a novel with this, but it's pretty useful for just short text input. All right, so you can see here. Let's see, there are good internet, so Chromium web browser. The Wi-Fi connection. I've actually got a mod on here that I'll show in a minute that actually causes the should make the reception a little bit better. So let's just go to Hackster.io, and there we are. Okay, so got that, and you can see here we've got, let's see, programming, Donnie, Genie, internet, sound, and video. This is kind of cool. You got a MIDI sequencer built in, so in theory you could use this as a controller for like a MIDI controller. So that's pretty neat. Graphics, image viewer. Now games, you've got a lot of games. So if you see this as a kind of like a Game Boy, plenty of that. Presumably you can also add your own programs if needed. But yeah, lots of games if you want to just get started working with that. Obviously MAME will take some setup, as well as I guess other things, just trying to put your own ROMs and such on there. But Cave Story, we can go into that right now. So it's pretty cool. You got your controller set up here. It's a pretty neat little game. I mean, it's just for something built in. Well, yeah, you can see there, I have died. It is really cool. I mean, applications like gaming, software-defined radio with some extra modifications, or even LoRa would be possible. Music creation through the MIDI sequencer. That'd be pretty awesome. As for me, I mean, the screen is big for the portable device, but at the same time, if you can do any sort of development, you might want to hook it up to a keyboard and mouse, which we'll show how to do in just a minute. Probably the coolest part about this is just how cool it looks. I mean, it does really look like a fantasy console, which I think is kind of how it's described by ClockworkPi. So whether or not you need one, I mean, since you're watching this video, a pretty good chance you'll want one. So that being said, trying this out, I have had some issues with it going off. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Also, the volume control seems a little fiddly. But look, I mean, it's a hacking device, so I think even though it's pretty much plug and play, at least after you plug in the SD card. Oh, this is new. I put this on, so we'll have some video on that too. But good to have a different antenna. But after some hacking, you might have to do some hacking on it, but nonetheless, it's a pretty awesome device. And it's big enough, big solid block of computing. So you might be able to put it in some gigantic cargo pants, but don't expect this to fit in your wallet like a phone or something. So it looks strange enough that people might think, oh, what is this thing? But if it's somebody that's into technology, they'd probably love it. I mean, I just love the feel of it, love the look of it, and it's just a great piece. But let's go ahead and talk about a few more things on this. A few, I guess, modifications / hacks / setups you can do, including hooking it up to a keyboard and mouse. I guess it's not really a hack, but it's something you can do. Also, I'll show how to hook up this antenna, which should mean that you get a lot better reception with it for Wi-Fi. So one modification to the uConsole that I think you might want to do, especially when you're first starting to set it up, is actually to plug it in to a keyboard and mouse. And now, of course, this seems to kind of defeat the purpose of everything, but while the uConsole is nice for quick hacking and stuff as far as the keyboard goes, it's really nice to have, if you're spoiled with the big screen, it's nice to have that available for sure. Now, of course, you'll need to have a USB hub set up, because otherwise you just have this one port, USB-A port. Also, it uses a USB-C, so you can hook that up to a power supply, which I've got back there. And then you need a let's see, micro HDMI cable. So there, I've got an adapter to this, and yeah, it goes back into there. So by default, it actually extends the screen onto the Pi. So as I move this right, and I believe you can probably switch that around if you need to, but for setup duties and stuff, you do kind of your heavy typing, heavy lifting here, and then you have it ready to go. At least that's the theory. Now, of course, these keys are pretty cool, nice and clicky, but if you're wanting to do, go at 70 words per minute or whatever, probably you're not going to do that. Also, I've found that this the mouse, the trackball and the left and right keys, those actually work pretty well in your hands. So, something to think about just when you set it up, do that, and then you can, once you have it set up like you like, then you can take this wherever. Now, one thing that I did notice that the Wi-Fi, I read about it too, but the Wi-Fi connection isn't always the best. So I think I'm going to take a look at modifying that as well. So in order to add this antenna, I'm going to have to take this apart and then put it in here. Anyway, so I've got this antenna that I ordered. Hopefully this is the right size connector. It seems a little small to me. Yeah, it's tiny. I don't remember how big it was, but if it's too small, I guess I'll have to order another one. But the idea is that this little 3D printed piece that I printed out, easily downloadable, loadable online. You can find a couple different ways to print that. Basically, it's got something here where it kind of holds it, and then the antenna will, peek out. Looks pretty cool. Nice little cyberpunk look for it. I think there's some other mods too for maybe like a LoRa antenna or other stuff like that. And for that matter, this does have some boards that you can put in, so it's quite hackable and open to a lot of different things. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and take it apart so I can put this on. All right, so pop that off, and the heat transmission compound, that's pretty cool. But you got to pop that off. Even though those are both very small, I think the new one is too small. But I guess we could pop that off anyway and just see what happens. These things always pop off until you need them to come off, I guess. Gonna have to figure out how to get a bigger one. All right, so I ordered the new connector, and as you can see here, it does actually plug in. And in fact, this is a slightly bigger connector. It's called a U.FL IPX connector versus what was listed as an MH4 IPEX connector with an E. So you can see there that this is significantly bigger than this. So yeah, don't get the smaller one, the IPEX, get the U.FL IPEX connector. The only problem here is this mount. I don't really have enough space there, so I'm gonna have to figure something out there. So they say necessity is the mother of invention, and I think I've come up with something pretty clever. Rather than 3D printing something new, what I did was actually just zip tied this through the little cavity here, or the hole there. Short enough for this. Took off some of the nuts and stuff, but I think it'll be okay without that. But anyway, I'm pretty happy how this looks. You know, you've got a little bit of, you know, it should lift the bottom up a little bit, but it also doesn't have any sort of extra stuff there. So I think this will work pretty well. So I'll hook it back up and see if that works with this connector. Also, the thing is, I'm a little bit nervous about this going up and down and actually tweaking this, the actual antenna cord. So yeah, I guess I'll put it together and see how it works. So after a bit more testing, it appears to be working. Got Hackster.io pulled up on here and on the back. What I did was I added another zip tie and put a bolt back there, so anyway I could tighten it down, and anyway it goes through there, hooks up there. You know, in this case I think I've come up with a nice solution that doesn't require a 3D printed part, also doesn't require something kind of hanging off the side here, so it's nice and concealable. Now of course, like I said, you could file that a little bit to make a little more space, or you could probably best to move these connectors down a little bit, you know, for the inside, but for now I think I'm going to button it up, and I think it looks pretty good. So I'll put this all back together and, you know, we can keep testing it out. So there we go. After a bit more hacking, I've got my antenna hooked up. Seems to do fine, just, you know, lined up like this. Actually, when I pulled it out, it seemed to maybe even work worse, but we'll see how it works here. So yeah, I don't know, stays connected. I don't know if there's much advantage to having it up. Anyway, having the new external antenna is pretty cool. Seems like, hopefully it'll help. I haven't tested it that much, but it's a little hack that you can do to this if you want to enhance your experience just a little bit. So yeah, so you can browse the web on this if you want to. Nice big screen compared to a phone or something like that, but a little bit different experience obviously. And if you want, you can hook this up to a actual big monitor, and that's, you know, that's a good thing to do if you feel like doing a lot of typing or something. So after using it for a while, the screen does look good, but I did notice that sometimes if it goes to, I think it's powered off, or I guess it goes to sleep maybe, the screen actually kind of has like a white border to it. So I don't know what's going on there, but maybe it's not entirely off or something. I'm not really sure. But you know, if you shut it down and turn it back on, that border seems to be gone. So I don't know quite what's going on. So, you know, probably there's some software or hardware hacking you need to do to get this really working well. But you know, that's kind of the theme of it. Also, early on, I did notice the power went off sometimes. So I don't know. I haven't noticed that recently, but you know, just a few caveats for this. It looks awesome, and for the most part, it works pretty well. At least it's been working well for me recently, but there are a few things that might be, you know, I don't know, just some things you might have to hack on. And, you know, I suppose that's kind of the theme of this. So, yeah, you might enjoy that aspect. I had a great time trying out the uConsole by ClockworkPi. As seen previously, initial setup does take some work, but thanks to some clever design choices and a pre-flashed SD card, the process is pretty straightforward. To find out more about this rugged, retro, futuristic deck, check out ClockworkPi.com/uConsole. Thanks so much for watching. It's Jeremy Cook for Hackster.io, signing off.